Wholeness. I have been wanting to share this for so long. I ordered this back in April, if you can imagine. So I am so happy to share this with you all. Oh my gosh, happy Saturday. Um, as you can see, I have my wood family, my instruments, my chordophones, but I have just wanted a flute for quite some time, actually, quite some time. And this is in the key of E. This is handmade by Blue Bear Flutes. I believe he's based in Alabama. This is a Native American flute. I know the traditional ones are actually in a higher key. A popular key is F sharp or F major. I'll have to take a look again, but this is an E. Just beautiful. And I'm just playing around with it. I'm not trying to force anything. I mean, obviously, coming from a classical music background, like I practice all the time, but this time with my music, I just really want to be in flow, and repetition is the first law of learning, and so yeah, I'm all about that, but I just really want to make sure that I have fun, and this just brings me a lot of joy, and I'm so happy I can share this with someone. It makes me happy sharing music with other people, whether that's playing with them. I haven't played music with like an actual group of people in a long time, in years, so eventually, if that's part of the path, I am totally open to it. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you, and I was giving you guys winks a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately there was like a little hiccup in the shipping and whatnot, but as you can see, there's a wolf. It's one of my medicines. Yes, a wolf there. And then we have Blue Bear logo here, of course. This is handmade, hand carved, just really, I'm just stoked. I believe this is in cedar, so it has a very strong aroma. As you guys know, I love wooden things. I just love wooden things. I know I wear a lot of silver, but it's really weird. I like silver. To me, it soothes me, and I find it protects me, and I feel very magical when I wear silver. I mean, even down to this is sterling silver. Any metal I wear is going to be sterling silver. No fake jewelry. But then, to that, I love wooden things. So today, and normally I don't wear tons of like dreadlock jewelry. I think it looks cool on a lot of people. I think it's amazing. It looks artsy fartsy, creative and fun, but given how minimalistic I am in my life, I have like this deep connection to handmade things, and whether someone else makes it, but it's better. I feel closer to it, to the object, when I make things by hand with my own two hands. And so about, I'd say maybe 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, I hand carved this. It used to be just one bee, but I made two, because two is, and I have like a little mini saw, and I sawed it today, so I'm gonna put more of my sigils on there, because there was one, but I just felt like I needed a change, I think, and balance also. But I've just been feeling pretty, and it's been an interesting week. It's been a very interesting week. I like these weekly check-ins rather than every other day or 3 times a week, because it's just too much, and there's a lot going on still, in my work life, professional life. So yeah, but I love wooden things, and wood for me, yes, I feel very magical wearing silver, but wood, there's something very grounding in it. I feel grounded in my body. I feel grounded with my senses. I feel grounded with the earth, and walking around in the trees and the elements. So yeah, I love silver, and I love wooden things. So With that, yeah, happy Saturday to everybody. May this, what I have to share with you, may this message find you well and whole. Let's just get right into it. There's going to be probably a few randos, all right, thrown in this, but a lot of, I think the overall message in this upload today is primarily going to be a lot of self-reflection, and maybe the questions that I have for myself, you too have asked yourself, or you too, are trying to figure some things out right now. I'm not much into the whole astrological cosmic news, if you will. However, I will say that I do feel there are a lot of upcoming shifts, right? And as a collective, but I feel like also individually in my life. So I wanted to talk about, there's this woman called Teal Swan. I've been in and out. I was really, really deep into her work, and her messages back in like the late teens. I would probably say 2017, 2018, 2019. And then I kind of fell off a little bit. At this point, she's got close to 2 million subscribers, and her work is all about spirituality, consciousness, but most importantly, accountability. You are a conscious, sovereign being, and you have to take accountability for your own existence. And I love that. She's I would say her arena is very much into doing shadow work, the subconscious, the conscious. Is very Carl Jung-esque type of vibe that you get from her. Highly intelligent woman. Yes, I've watched the documentary of her quote unquote cults. I think the documentary was heavily edited. And look, I am not a diehard fan of anyone. I like to study and watch and observe, and from various different authors and spiritualists and gurus and all that. But I don't follow them like I'm like they're Jesus, or or something outside myself, right? They are just a reflection of a fragment of my consciousness that's just here to remind me of who I am, a whole being, a complete being. And so with that, I bumped into one of her videos, Self-Sabotage Isn't Real. And you all know I've been in the middle of reading Soul Contract or Sacred Contracts, written by Carolyn Myss, and she's all about archetypes. Very, 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 very deep archetypes. Here's the thing, from what I've studied of the saboteur, when you're able to identify the saboteur archetype in who you are and how it affects your life, the saboteur, our internal world is not our enemy. Our internal world, it may feel like at times that it's not our friend, but nothing inside us, this is what I watched in her video. She was saying, Teal Swan, nothing inside us is actually against us. It's all for our growth. And once we bring awareness to these shadow aspects of ourselves, that's all it needs. Our shadow is just a fragment of our consciousness that needs our awareness. Nothing more, nothing less than that. And we will spend money, we'll invest in all kinds of distractions to avoid this truth. I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it, we've all been there, we will get there, or we're working our way out of that. But the most important thing about awareness is that it breaks down the illusion of separation that we hold within ourselves. I say this all the time about illusion of separation versus wholeness. Wholeness is just, it is what it is. We are complete. We are whole. But our external reality and our world programs us and conditions us to make sure that we truly believe that we are broken, fragmented, awful, we're just broken. You know what I'm saying? That there's something wrong with us, that we're full of error and sin, right? Even in the Christian faith, like, you're born in as a sinner, right? And so anyway, the self-sabotage isn't real. It's just a form, in her perspective, in her philosophy. Self-sabotage is a form of self-protection. It's almost like right now, personally, right now I'm facing this. As you can see, I love art and music. If you checked out my other video, I love, or my other channel, music channel, Notes of Nara Music, right? I love, it used to be Silver Tree, but I changed it. I am a creative, spiritual person. My biggest conflict right now is I feel like I'm split in two, just like these beads, right? I feel like I'm split in two in a way. Because about a year ago, I made a video on this channel stating, okay, I'm going to put my creative life on the back burner and I'm going to allow her to sleep for a while I, get to grad school, work on professionalism, work on an actual career that people will take seriously and, people won't look down on and they will respect me for it. And I get validation from my family because I'm going to get my master's degree. I'll be probably the second person in my family to get their master's degree. Just, ego. And I'm looking at myself now and given a year into grad school, okay, a year into teaching professionally, okay, I'm like, what am I doing? In life, your internal compass will give you a hell yeah, or a heavens yeah, or a hell no. And I've been feeling hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no for the longevity of the year. It's been a struggle. And I'm not saying the logistics, like not the financial part of paying for school and all that. I'm talking about just the mental exhaustion, the questioning my own competence in what I'm doing, questioning the training I've received, the support of teachers, the cultural shift in education, how society views education. It's all like literally blowing up in my face. And I'm not one to run away. As much as I've traveled from place to place to place, changed jobs and careers, I'm not one to run away. My ex-romantic partners can detest that I will put in the good fight. I really will. In my personal opinion, maybe my exes, have other their opinions, their story and perception, but I can say with all my heart, when I commit myself to I'm just jotting down a note here. When I commit myself to a cause, not even a cause, but to a relationship or career path or spiritual practice, I go all in. And now in my 30s, I'm asking myself, Nadja, you have this amazing quality of being loyal. But who are you loyal to and why? Who are you loyal to and why? And that's the second video I watched of hers today, negative loyalty. And I was just kind of like, oh, you're talking to me. Like it put things into perspective. When you overcommit to something for validation, for doing the right thing, she said something where you have to, not just go along with it. I know of a person in my life where this person is really stuck in the past, right? Someone I love very much, but he attaches. I'll say this: human beings can attach themselves to people who are long gone, right? It's part of the human experience they'll attach themselves to people and to individuals who are long gone. And like it's almost like they attach themselves to the phantom of who that person was in this life when they've died, and then the phantom is there. Like, because he or she believed in me in this way, I'm never going to let her go. I can't forget. I can't let it go. And I find that I do that in my careers. Sometimes in relationships, I've gotten much better with that. But it's about this obsession with service. Obsession with being of service and doing and helping people. I feel like at this point in my life is hindering me. And I have tricked myself into believing that it would be fulfilling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, working in a hospital would be fulfilling. Working in education would be fulfilling. These are two areas of public service that are highly respected, not really paid enough. But they're, it's like when you say, oh, I'm in nursing. Oh, wow. Oh, I teach. Wow. And it's not like I did it just to get that from people, but it's something that, it's our future. It's health. It's supporting our future intellectuals, and I see the reality of the systems in place for these two areas that I deeply care about, and it's deplorable. I can't seem to fit or find my role. You know what I'm saying? So how does this all tie back to self-sabotage and how self-sabotage is a form of self-protection? You have an artist, and then you have the career, like 9 to 5. I'll just say that. You have the 9 to 5, you have the artist, okay? And the artist is inside you, right? The artist, the creative person, this individual is telling you to go left, but the 9 to 5 person's telling you to go, but the 9 to 5 person's telling you to go right. And the 9 to 5 is like your external reality. The artist is your internal reality. Okay? And how I see and perceive the world is more of a creative, abstract, artistic, philosophical, spiritualist. That's my internal reality. That's my internal world. My external reality is all about 9 to 5 and order and writing papers and grading and teaching and going here and going to a meeting and setting up meetings and calling this parent and, getting after this student and talking with colleagues and going to more meetings and doing all this paperwork that I don't really understand the true purpose of it all really at the end of the day. But, they're conflicting right now. And for the longest time, when I was studying Carolyn Miss's book, The Sacred Contracts, and like she made it to where you can't escape it. You can't escape the saboteur. The saboteur is just ever present. You know what I'm saying? But then studying Teal Swan's perspective on it, it just makes a lot more sense. Self-sabotage is you protecting yourself from something that isn't in alignment. And we tend to ignore this. I've been ignoring the artist in me. I've been suppressing it and allowing the external world to kind of guide me and put me here, put me there, because it's safe. Right? I've always been a person that craves stability. Always. Always. As much as I adore traveling and moving from place to place and, putting myself in challenging and adventures and all that, there's a really deep fear of not being stable enough, not having enough money, not being able to support myself independently. And you can say that that's, a practical fear, or you can say that it's impractical, but that's just my reality of it. I have to acknowledge this shadow part of myself when it comes to self-sabotage, self-protection. What am I protecting? You know what I'm saying? When I'm because I've dealt with sabotage very heavily this school year. It's just been forcing myself to do things, forcing myself to do these classes and to read the material and to take the tests and quizzes and to show up to work, and it's like forcing myself to fulfill a story that society finds fitting for me. And how can I say that I'm being authentic if I'm living out a story that's not in alignment of my character, of the role that I feel led to play in this life? There's a lot of unknowns with the path of the artist. You know, this other nature in me, the creative nature in me, a lot of unknowns. And there's a lot of knowns in this other path where I'm in grad school and doing the right thing. So I think that's the next question. What is the saboteur protecting me from? The inevitable? When I say that there have been shifts in the education system, there have been. And it's actually affecting my current status right now, actually. By fall, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm employable, so I'll be working regardless. But within the district that I'm in right now, they're just kind of there's an upheaval as far as the cohort program, graduate program. So that puts me in a very precarious spot, unfortunately. And I don't know if this is the universe, if this is the cosmos, if this is my soul saying, here, Nadja, here's an opening, take it. Or if this is something if this is an opening to go about this in a different way that will feed my inner nature. And so it's like, is this an opportunity, or is this just another block I have to chip through? And that's kind of where I'm at right now, as far as processing what's taking place. So basically, in Trump's reign, that's pretty much what it feels like. He's the executive orders, with everything, even with like student loans, like he's trying to pass a thing where they're going to just start garnishing wages. And I'm like looking at this, I'm like, the only way, because I do owe, sadly, the only way for me to get in a financial spot where I feel comfortable is to live nomadically. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, is this an opportunity or is this a setback? Because it all deals with perspective, It truly deals with perspective. So I feel like the answers that I know that I have within myself will reveal themselves in due time. But I think I made a mistake last year, well, not a mistake, but it's more of an error in judgment. Like to silence my creative life is not helping me. It's not. And so there's a bigger lesson here for sure of moving back to my state, my home state in the Midwest, like I did and how I did and where I ended up and how where I'm at now. But yeah, everything's pretty much like the foundation I thought I was building is beginning to shake. And that's challenging. That's triggering a fear that I have. And it's almost like my higher self is saying, my soul is asking me like, you have all that you need. Why fear? You have all that you need. Why fear? You are centered, you are balanced, you are strong and sovereign and autonomous. That is your foundation. And I find that I'm constantly fighting this external nausea, you know, this independent woman archetype, which is really, I used to be all about that. I made videos about rise of the matriarch, right? You know, meaning rise of feminine power. However, that can also be quite divisive. I'm all about the human, the womb man and the man. And so it's like the independent woman archetype of I can be bad all by myself. I mean, they made actual like songs like INDEPENDENT, like a rap song about independent women. Do you know what that mean, man? She got her own house. She got her own car. It's like, and so there's this social programming of women pretty much entering into a very masculine space of leading the household, right? And I mean, it's been a few generations now where women have just we've, entered the workforce because we were allowed to. Entered the workforce because men can make more money when they include women in the workforce, so that's why they did it. It was primarily for monetary gain, not because they really cared about our rights. Truly, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have women work, and then that's going to boost the economy as well, because you don't only just have one household income, you have two now. So, more money. But, I grew up in that. I grew up, like, my mom was she was at the beginning of that real hard final push of single mom. Single mom was a very honorary 80, 90, in the 80s and 90s, it just blew up. Men and women having, sex, unmarried, woman gets pregnant, the man sticks around a little bit or not at all, and then the woman is raising her child by herself, paying for bills on her own, paying for daycare on her own. If she can't work, then she's on government, then she's calling government daddy. You know what I'm saying? She's married to the government then, the welfare check. Just working multiple jobs. And now we're entering into a phase where men are becoming less educated. They're not going to colleges, universities. Men are staying at home. Women are putting their careers more and more and more as a focus, owning homes. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting, this shift that's taking place between men and women. But I think just overall, we are redefining our relationships and what is stability. And what is stability? What is stability for me? And so I want to go back to trusting your right answer, meaning trusting your right answer. I've trusted the answers of other people. We all have done that. I have a mentor. I've had at least 2 mentors in my life. I will have to say, at moments, they would share more of their opinion of what they thought I should do and what was right. But the majority of the time, it was just more of a reflection. They wanted me to reflect. They're like, I can't tell you what to do. I'm just sharing with what I see and how I feel. However, that's, I think, my biggest challenge right now is trusting what's right for me. Doing what's right for me, not for my mom, my dad, or my employer. And I've learned, I think it was 2 years ago, employers do not give a shit about their employees. They just don't. It's systematically built this way. So with what I'm going through right now with career, because I thought I signed a contract and everything, and they're like, yeah, we'll pay for your college or your grad degree. You work here for so many years, and then boom, they're firing people left and right that are part of the program. And I'm like, I don't, wow. And it came down to where I was on the list of hires that's determining if I'm able to work there or not. And at this point, I'm like, I'm not in shock, but it's just like, wow. It's almost like the universe is like, see, I'm trying to get you to live your most authentic self, get in alignment. You're trying to force yourself into a story that is not fit for you, Nadja. And I'm just kind of like, but no, I want to do the right thing. And I feel like my soul, spirit, universe is like, you need to do the right thing for you. And I'm like, oh, so what is the right thing for me right now? Do I continue with the program? Do I pack up, buy another vehicle, save some money, buy another vehicle, live out, on the road? Do I, take a few jobs, save money, I don't, like, it's still, I'm it's like the harder I try to build stability, the more unstable my reality is. And that's a hard truth for me to swallow right now. It's like the more the state, when I think of seasons in my life where I was most stable, someone else will look at me and say, oh my gosh, does she have her life together? Like, what are you doing with your life? And that was where I had the most peace. I was most creative, and I had more money in the bank that I could count, and I wasn't stressing out about anything. Truly. Like, truly. My mental health, top tier. And when I'm forcing myself into what would be deemed stable, I'm the most stressed out, mentally exhausted, drained, very vulnerable, and relying on an entity to pay for my grad school. They could pull out anytime, fire me anytime, because they're doing that to, some of my colleagues. And I'm like, this isn't it. The universe is literally, I feel like this is very clear for me, and I'm seeing what it is, and that's hard, because it's like that there's a part of me that wanted, I feel like, that was still hanging on to this illusion of separation, to this illusion of a story that I thought was built for me, like, yes, this is the right thing, but it may not be right for me. And now I'm figuring out what's next, So answering a call that I can only hear, that takes bravery, that takes courage, that takes stepping out into the void. I'm not, look, like right now, I've got gas in my car, bills are paid, money in the bank, cash flow coming in. I just had a really good health checkup. Going to the chiropractor, get my spine, my body right, been to the massage. Like, I'm taking good care of myself. I'm in good health. People I love are in good health. I just got my new instrument, I'm just really, truly very, very grateful. And now I'm feeling that there's a call that I can only hear. And when you're answering that call that you can only hear, you feel lonely. It is very, very lonely. You feel isolated. And to try to explain that to other people, like my mentor gets it. That's why I think it's so important to have solid mentorship in your life. People that you're not related to. But someone outside of your genetic biological circle that is a bit older, has lived, and they're there to reflect. You know what I'm saying? They're not your guru, they're not your savior, they're not your mommy and daddy, boyfriend, girlfriend, lover. No, it's just a really deep friendship of just honesty. And that's what I'm very grateful of having, and the benefit of that, because with him, he can just, it's like he understands when if I told him I feel like I'm answering a call that I can only hear, he would get it. He'd be like, yeah, exactly, that's where you're at. And it's about having the tenacity to do it. And I've done it before. I've answered calls where my spirit was called, my soul was calling me spirit, and then everything in my physical material world lined up perfectly for me to take that jump and to make that move. And I did it. And it was all for the benefit of my evolution as a woman, as a human being, and no regrets in my life where I answered the call that no one else could hear. I started doing that. I think that the first time I ever really did that, oh gosh, France, I was 18, I was 19, no, I was 20 years old, going into my, junior year in college and undergrad, and I cried. I cried on that plane. Oh my God, did I cry, right? It was a big, big thing, a big deal. Excuse me. And I just, it was a very interesting year. I will say that's for sure. Just big moments, like even this, like I answered the call to get back into education, into grad school, all in all for it to show me, something about myself I really need to face. Like there is something, I literally am being asked to design my own path, to carve it out, to be the architect in my life. And people, society, the external world will say, well, why aren't you completing this? Why aren't you finishing that? Why did you decide to do this? Why aren't you, how many people have asked me? I'm also going to timestamp this because I know it's going to be all over the place. How many people have asked me about motherhood and dating in the past 2 weeks? And usually I'm not that sensitive to the topic, but as of late I have been, and it's not like I'm lacking. I don't feel lack in my life because I don't have a lover or because I don't have a child in my life or marriage. There are many pros. There are many benefits of not having those things in my life right now. I just truly. And also being, practicing celibacy, that just puts me in a completely different frequency, in a completely different space when it comes to interacting with life around me in general. And so many people aren't going to understand it. They're not going to get it. You got to be in it to get it. If you're not practicing it, you never have, you're just not going to understand why anyone would do that. But recently there was a woman that I was working with, and an older woman, and one day we were having a side conversation, and she just flat out asked me, which I already told her like 3 or 4 months ago, or 5 months ago, 6, 7, I don't know, it was a while ago, but she just said, do you have a boyfriend? I'm like, no, I don't. She goes, oh. And she goes, why? And I'm like, I don't have the time. Like, it's a whole nother thing when you're working a full-time job, going to grad school part-time, and have a part-time job. You have no time. There is no time. When people look at me, I don't know. I have so much respect for people who are married and have kids, and you work a part-time job, and you go to grad school, and you're working full-time. I don't know how you're doing it. God bless you. Okay? You just love to you. Lots and lots of love, because that is a whole space that's just, it's so demanding of energy. There are times I come in at home and I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to make dinner. I don't have the energy to pick up my instrument. I'm not I haven't been in a creative space in a while. You know, and it's like I'm just, when I'm approached with, and then I went to a family gathering and someone was like, well, can't you just find somebody? Can't you just find a man? You don't have any kids? And mind you, at this family event, there was at least 4 babies. One was pregnant. She already had a 1-year-old. And then 3 other babies. Okay? That's a lot. That was a lot in our gathering. There were about 30 some people, maybe less than 30. It was quite a lot of people at this gathering. And we all squeezed into the house, to celebrate my aunt's birthday. And I felt kind of like, ugh. I'm always kind of on edge when I'm around other mothers. When I like to use the word child-free, not childless. There's nothing less about my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm child-free. And if a child was in my life, then my life would be full. It would be, I'm not going to say complete. It would be a very full life. So I look at both paths as beautiful. Like, you want to be a mother, you have a child, that's a very full, beautiful life. You don't want to be a mom and you're child-free, that's a very beautiful, full life. So I don't look down on either or. I love mothers. I love parents and people who are intentional with their pregnancy and they just love loving children. That's beautiful. However, when I'm around other women, I have to be mindful that if I say, oh no, I'm child free, they will get offended. I have to be I can't be, if I show too much like vigor, I'm like, oh no, I don't want any kids. Some women take great offense to that for whatever reason. And I've seen women do that too, where they're single or they don't have any kids and they'll put down other women because they have children, and that's also very ugly. But yeah, that was kind of a weird space. Like, I felt like, oh, so the follow-up, so the colleague at my job, she, like, a few weeks later from that conversation, like, do you have a boyfriend? She goes, we're talking about a complete, like, someone else, but she looks dead at me, says at the top of her lungs in a full room of other staff, yeah, well, if we're gonna hire anybody, make sure, and she looks right at me, make sure that they're married, or she said, make sure that they're not single, and that they have kids. And she stared, like, locked eyes with me, and so I called her out on it. I felt like that was kind of, it was inappropriate. Because here's a thing about that, when women or men and women make comments to me about that, you have no idea where a woman is with her womb health, or if she's even capable of having children. And so, that was kind of, I'm never going to share if I'm able to have kids or not. That's no one's business, right? But mine are the partner of my choosing, right? That's just, it is what it is. But it's like, wow. I felt kind of strange, and then I always go inward and ask myself, okay, is there something in me that I need to look into? No, there isn't. I'm good where I'm at in my stance on being a child-free woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to look at the reality of my life. I make less than 6 figures a year. I tend to change jobs every 1 to 2 or every 1 to 2 years. I'm in grad school. I have student loan debt. There's like many different variables to the issue, and even when I state my argument to people or just evidence of why that wouldn't be a good decision, I will still get but none of that matters though. you can still have kids around. I'm like, oh, you never grew up on government cheese or powdered milk. That's spoiled. You never had the electricity shut off or water shut off. Right. I think about realities that I've had to face growing up, and my mother had to face growing up, and my mother's mother's mother had to face growing up. And I know, yes, I can make a difference and break the generational curses, but there's also societal, social, economic pressures that are completely outside of my control that can dictate certain hardships that I'm working desperately to avoid as an independent singleton. So I feel like my choice, where I'm at is where I'm at. I just thought it was really, really very interesting. Because when I was 26, I had a completely different vision or 20, I had a completely different vision of my womanhood and being a mom and wife and all that. And now that's shifted, right? So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you and other women that watch this, my channel. I know I'm not the only one who've faced that, and you know what I'm saying. But again, I want to emphasize, parents are spiritual guides physically manifested. You are a spiritual guide to a beautiful being. That is the most honorable path anyone could take. I mean that with all the love in my heart. And as a child-free single woman, that is the most honorable path anyone can take. And my path is just as honorable and just as beautiful. So there's that. And then I want to close with this essence. My true nature isn't fitting. It's just not. To be in constant conflict like this in the past year, of doing the right thing versus doing what's right. What's right for me anyway, doing the right thing for them versus, doing the right thing, doing what's right for me. It's weighing on me. It's weighing on me. And the current treatment of what's happening in educational system. I just hit my instrument when I said that. What's happening in the educational system on nationally and locally for me, I am very overall disheartened by the whole experience. Like, in some spaces that I've heard, through the grapevine, and where, especially in the district that I teach, everyone's having a phenomenal experience. But then there's a pocket of us that have had a subpar experience. I'm not going to use this as my platform as I'm not going to complain and go into the deeper details of my teaching experience this year. But I'm not blown away. And it's like, if anything, Source is asking me to start asking myself some really big questions. And I need to be honest. And then with that, it's like, how, why, where, who, all this stuff. And it's like, I feel the safest when I am in movement. That is my stability. COVID-19, the pandemic, when they shut down when society shut down, I'd say that I felt completely, truly secure. I felt I was in a complete, I was in Phoenix, in the valley, in Arizona, where there's about 5 million people. 5 million people. And I've always had this urge to live in the countryside and to investigate homesteading and all that. And I moved from place to place to place to place from, I think, May all through April, May, June. I think the summer of 2020, I was moving around quite a lot, Airbnbs. And then I moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to work on a vegetable farm. And I felt so grounded and peaceful, and it's just different, you know. Even when I moved all the way up from New Mexico to Wisconsin, and I didn't know my direction or what I was going to do, and you know, that was frustrating. But I felt good. Like, I felt so calm and centered and confident and very creative. And you know, and then when I ended up here in Indiana, the energy of the land speaks, right? That's just, as a nomad, you learn about how you learn the organic networking of the land, because you move around so much. And so you learn to speak the language of the communities. You adapt, right? You shift. You're a chameleon. You can change and transform yourself to match the frequency of certain places for a certain amount of time. For a certain amount of time. And I've adapted here, but it's not fit. It's like it's almost like the state that I'm in. Like, it's almost, I'm envisioning like a puzzle of the state where I live, and then I'm the last piece. I'm the actual last piece to the puzzle, but I'm not fitting into the state. You know what I'm saying? It's a funny description, but I'm not fitting in anywhere. And so I'm trying to like cut the puzzle piece to just try to make it fit anyway. And it's almost like I feel like I'm being squeezed out. Like, the harder I try to cut my little puzzle piece to fit, that gapping hole where the last puzzle piece should go is like slowly closing. Have you guys ever felt that? Like, you have just, you know, I'm sure you have, especially in relationships. You get pushed out. You just feel like it's not your partner distancing themselves from you. They're pushing you out. Or you're being pulled out. That's what that distance that you feel from the other person. That's what I feel right now with my job. It's like this, I'm trying desperately to communicate what their intentions are with me, what's you know, the direction of my career in grad school, and it's just this weird film where it's almost like a Charlie Brown, like, you know, the teacher's talking, you know, and I'm trying to understand what's happening, and I'm telling them, I don't understand you, give me clarity here, yes or no, and I'm not getting a yes or no. It is the most bizarre experience I've had in a while. And it's almost like I feel like Source is saying, hey, formulate your own answer. Don't wait on theirs. Formulate your own answer that's right for you. And that's what I'm going to leave with. Okay. So yeah, may this message find you well and whole. I will name this instrument. Don't you see that lovely little wolf there? Isn't that cute? Ça, c'est très mignon. That's very cute. Oh, I love it. Okay, here we go.